Okay, see? Okay. So, Okay, so this calipers, by the way. My calipers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm making a leg. Alright, so I'll turn you this way a little bit. Alright, this is the sample leg I made. Okay, so right now I'm about here, somewhere in here, and I'm trying to design this a little bit, and then I've got a taper from here down to the bottom. Okay, so that's what I'm working on. Some people are asking me what I'm working on. That's what I'm working on right now. I've got the top cut. I just don't have the sides, corners trimmed off. I've got all this part cut. I'm working on the last leg, and then the top part isn't going to have this little piece of wood here. It's going to have pins in it. Okay, so the pins, there's little pins in there. Him. So it'll be like a floating table. So what I'm doing now is I'm tapering it. This is the bottom. Okay, so I have measurements that I've taken here, here, and here. So I've got to go down a little bit. As you can see right here, this shouldn't be on here either. This is going to be down a little bit. Yet I've got to go to 53 on here. So what I'm doing right now is just slowly tapering it. Now the key for me is, and this is for me, not you guys, whatever you guys feel like doing. When I'm doing it, I like to take my time, and if I have to measure more than, it's like measure twice, cut once. Because it's really easy to screw up on this, especially when I have a bunch of wood sandwiched together. It's kind of oddball shaped a little bit. But other than that, it's turning out fine. I got 3 out of the 4. I actually got 4 legs made. This will be the 5th one. But that one's a sample one. So when I get done with this, I'm going to make another table just like it, except it's going to be longer. But I'll have that as a template. So this one, it showed me, it has that much. Now I have to take down, I'm going to go to 53 on this, 53 centimeters. I'm at 55 right now, so it doesn't take, but see, here's the thing, it doesn't take much to go from here to there and take it off. Then the other thing is 2 little indentations in here. Sometimes this wood wants to show, and you're going against the grain basically, so you're pulling it sometimes. It makes things a little bit more difficult. So, onward and upward. Now, you can see on this top part, a little bit of tearing. That's just because, again, you're going against the grain. So what I'm doing now is I'm gonna sand this down a little bit, see what it looks like. 4. And you're constantly measuring too, just so you know. You don't wanna screw it up. Okay, so what we have here, 53. We want 53, so okay, so what do we got here? $54.1. Getting there. Getting there. Now, the other thing I gotta take into consideration, see these rings right here? So you want to get too far. So now I've got myself a little bit of distance where I could take and use a different tool. I use this to smooth it out with. And that works out pretty good. So okay, so turn this off. I'm going to change out my tool rest to a bigger one. Should have been using that in the first place, but so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start working backwards. I'm going to keep going down the road until I get to a certain point. Now my idea is there's a little ridge here on this. Can't see it. Yeah, no one can see it. Okay, so there's a little ridge right here that I'm going to be wanting to go to. That's the diameter of what my, or close to it, what my finished product should be. So the key is to get down to a certain point and then stop until you get to the point where you're going to sand, because you know you're going to take X amount, probably a 1/16 of an inch off sanding. This is oak, so it's a little bit different. It's a little bit harder, but it's not as hard as it could be. Now, again, this is where you train yourself from turning. You know, once you get into different kinds of woods and mixes and matches and all that, you can figure it out when you're doing it. Now, I want to finish this, so So you got a bow there, see, but you can see this. So what you do is you come back just a little bit and raise this up just a tad. You're constantly changing your settings too. As you take more out, you're always changing your settings. If anybody hasn't subscribed, uh, subscribe to me, please. I'd be grateful. Then it'll tell you when I'm on. Gosh darn it. We got to go to 44.3. And this is at 59 yet, so we're still a ways. You have to have the tools to make this. Hey guys, what's up? Let's see, there's 5 of you there. Oh, don't forget to subscribe from the Dutchmans Wood Shack. Okay, so Okay, so you always keep in the back of your mind how much you're going to take off. All right. One of the thing is with certain woods, when they're softer woods, it's easy to take a whole bunch off real quick. Now, when I'm doing bowls, if I have a square piece of pine, like if I'm doing snowman, it doesn't take long to go through it. So here's the thing: you want to make it challenging. Be creative and create something that may take you a little bit longer than 15 minutes. Hey Wade, what's going on there, buddy? Nice to see you, Little Bear and Owen and Monkey. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, well, I gotta I gotta get this done. Plan is to get this table done so that I can take it to one of my meetings, one of my woodworking meetings. Do any of you guys belong to a club? Yeah, I was just curious. Okay, I belong to a couple of clubs: Windy City Turners and Fox Valley Woodworkers. Yeah, Fox Valley Woodworkers is more oriented towards building furniture, just oddball things. There are turners in there, but most of it, for the most part, is doing everything else. And the Winning City Turners is strictly, basically, turners. You could be whatever else you want to, but it's a smaller group compared to the other group. Now, the thing is with the Windy City Turners, if you want to learn hands-on stuff. There are a couple of people in my group that teach. I actually don't know how to do pins, so I've got to get up on that. Marie, who used to be a president, is going to be teaching me next month on how to make pins or how I can screw them up. Um, anyway, I have a setup for this thing, but right now I'm in the middle of trying to get a couple of things done for a upcoming show that I have. An art show. September and October are always good months. This next one will be next weekend, I think, and it'll be in Batavia, Illinois. It's actually at the backside of the farmers market. They call it the Artisans Collective. So if you're around next weekend and you're in the city of Batavia or St. Charles or Geneva, come down to Batavia on River Road, and you'll see me down there. And the boss will have her glass in there. Her glass work is awesome, totally awesome, way above me. Okay, so I just make sawdust. And by the way, my address here is one big um, Dust Miteville, USA, Illinois, USA. I wonder if I can actually have my own address. That'd be kind of fun. Anyway, so now I'm measuring as I go, so that you know. So now I've got this really thick part here I'm doing. This is the end of it. This is the base. Again, I want to get down to just a smidge below or close to that ridge there, that round ridge. So what I usually do is when I get to this point, I just slowly work it. Now from here to here, I know I have to go. That's 44.3. So what I want to go to, that's what I want this to be at. So it's actually not going to be that big a deal. So we'll see how this works. Now, as the lathe goes, take in consideration you have to change this every time you want to do something. So if you're turning, you already know this. But for you newbies, and yes, I want to recruit new people. If you want to know about lathes, you want to know about tools, anything to do with turning, let me know. I'll help you out. I'll even show you where to go to get a lathe. Now, I always find them on Marketplace, but they're not cheap. This lathe here comes, it's shorter. I just put, my wife ended up getting an extension on it with the stand and, works out great. Okay. So, and it's a fun project. The most costly stuff are your tools, just so you know. Now, see, something obviously caused that. Right, so there might have been an air pocket or something in there. So that's the other thing you got to be careful. So you got to be ginger about it when you're doing it. That's fixable though. So okay, so the other thing is you constantly are changing this, and you always want to make sure that your tools are still sharp and that everything is tight because they do loosen off. Okay, so now what I got to do here, I got to find my 44.3. The other thing is have a straight edge. So what I usually do is I don't have a steel bar. I got to get one, but all right. So you want this. You can use this as a straight edge too, by the way. Yeah. So you want that. 36. One. This one is. Where am I? Right there, right? Okay. Right there. Okay, so we want 44.3 on this one. That's 46. That's 46/8. And this is 45/3. Now, what I usually do when I get close to this, what I'll do is I'll set this thing at whatever measurement I have and go see how close it is. Right now, I've got a lot to take off. So, it is time consuming, by the way. Okay, so to all those people that have CNC routers, they can do this. I hats are off to you, but even though for me, it's a pain sometimes here, I still enjoy doing it your old-fashioned way. I heard it. That's off the, I don't know if you guys are John Houseman. John Houseman used to be an actor on this TV series that was a professor, Paper Chase. Now I'm going back in the late 70s, early 80s, maybe. I don't know, something like it. Go check him out. But there's Ed Bagley's in there, Howie Mandel, a bunch of actors are in there. It's a good movie, but it's about professor, and it's about college. It's really kind of cool. If you really want to go back, there's one with Bob Denver and what the heck is it? I just had it on my. Anyway, I'll never mind. So, what's everybody up to today? are a few bumps in here and other things, but what works here is when I'm doing this, I'm going back and forth a lot. Now, the hard part, because I have the wood the way I have it, it's going to be a lot of glue, a lot of sanding on this, and it will be done. But you have to allow for that. That's another thing. Well, a 16th of an inch is about a head of a pencil, right? So figure on that with this, maybe a little bit more. And that's the thing you have to think and be aware of. Your finished product from the rough cut to the finish is always going to determine how much sanding you want to do to it. And it with these tools are pretty sharp. The problem is the type of wood I'm using and the way I set it up. Now, typically, you can go to the store and buy one by, and it doesn't have the fractures in it. The grain is going in a little bit different way. It's and the type of wood is different. Now I could do it this way, but there's a reason I'm doing it with. I'm using oak wood flooring, right? I'm using this stuff because I want to prove a point that you can make things out of recycled wood because I'm big on that. Instead of cutting a lot of trees down, try to save as much wood as you can and use it for something. There's a lot of different things I can use. I've used this kind of wood for making boxes, making bowls, birdhouses. I don't. You have to have an imagination, and this is where the creativity comes in. So that's why I always say at the end of my shows, start making some sawdust and be creative because. And I say this about everything in life. Change is inevitable, but it's how we change it to make it in a positive way, to make it work right. So, all right, what did I say I needed? I'll shut up, Jeff. All right, 144.3. That's just the way I operate. I love doing this. You know, it's not a job, it's a hobby, but I would like to get business out of it, of course, like everybody else. But, you know, people aren't buying what they're, and I get it. The economy sucks, so. I mean, politics is politics. That's the way I look at it. There's nothing you can do about them. You're better off just, you know, doing your daily routines and not worrying about politics because it's not going to change. So, okay, so we wanted 53 there. What the heck? Dude, that's not what I want. We're going to zero it out. Okay, so you want. And so much crap in a way. Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of a stress reliever, but it's kind of not too. Trust me. It's as bad as my golf game sometimes. I haven't played golf in years, and I hate to see what I'm at now. See, that's a 46 for. And that's a 42. Okay, so this one, see, right here. Okay, so that's a 42. So here's the thing. You want that at this level right here. So which is hands bounce around. 34. Well, that's not right. All right, come here. See, my problem is I keep. Oh, I'm just handing. Come on. Yeah, so you wanted at 30. What did I say? 36.4. But here's the thing, when you're doing this, it's also a straight edge. So, and you can see the high points. Right here, it's tapered down. Now, I could give you lessons on what to do and what not to do. I'm good at not doing things right, but don't do this at home. Oh, yeah. Okay, so when you're working this, different tools have different angles. All right, so this one, because it's tapered, you always want to go like this. Now, the idea for me, what's comfortable for me, is I want to keep it a little bit away from here. If I'm too close, you don't want to be like that. That's too close. So I can somewhere in between, I'm fine. And what I do is you want to hit it right about here. So if you're higher, like here, you're not doing any good. If you're lower, here's a chance on you're going to grab it and go like that. And that's easy to do. As I'm working back and forth, I'm not jamming my hand to it or my arm like this. I'm basically I'm a floater. Hey, a floater. And I just go back and forth, just like this. So I have control over this. If it decides it wants to go that way, I've got this and like this. Now, some of the guys have some really big ones, and I'm right-handed. So some of the guys will stand here and they've got some really big ones. And like these. The problem with these, the only problem I have is this is a good thing. I could use this, right, and it works great. But the problem is it's so long that I feel like I'm digging a shovel and going like this. I love using the carbide tips. They're one of my favorite tools. But it's again, when I'm doing legs, I kind of chisel down a little bit. The only difference, this one looks like it's been dropped. Eeks. Negative rake on there. All right. People hate me when I use this. This is actually my gouging tool. But they'll go, here's my other gouging tools. This is what that set I got. This is extra. I bought extra. That's extra. All these, this and this, and one other tool in there I use most of the time. I don't use it. These are rough gougers. Now, when I'm doing bark bowls or something, I'll use these to get all the bark off. This is the bowl gouge right here, and actually, this does a good job too. But again, the problem with this is if I'm doing a bowl way back in the corner back here, I don't have a lot of room because of the walls, and so I have a tendency to want to hog the room. So I'll use this instead. Now you can see I've got my a plate extension for my chuck. My chuck is in there. That you could use on when you're turning a bowl. I'll have to show you one day. Saw. That's the tightener for the chuck. The chuck, what the heck, chuck? There's extra parts in there. That's why it's there. And then 2 sanders. And I have these right here. They're the heads for these, which is, and it'll say CI5 and there's a code for these resins and hardwoods. Okay, so, but I'll tell you something right off the bat. If you're using it for resins, you got to be really careful. Personally, I would not use it on this one. I'd get a smaller version. Um, if you could get something that's like the bowl gouge I showed you, that has or something like this. Personally, this is what I'd be using. This one here, I'd be using this. The problem with this is it's kind of dull. It's hard to sharpen, and I use it for a lot of stuff. But you go to use this on resin work, I've done it. You'll take out big chunks and pockets. If it has a lot of air pockets, man, it'll do a number on it. I like that for doing. I like these for doing ornaments. I do Christmas trees with them. So they're basically, because they're angled. But I like how that they work on, and this is where it's a specialty thing. You get all this stuff, and you'll have a combination of. I think it's going to cost you more money and tools than it is for the lathe itself. Now, the basic setup is usually something like this is going to cost you $300 to $500 just for the lathe. It's not counting this because that's the next one, but that and that comes with it, and you don't come with the stand. So 500, just figure 500 roughly from this, and they're fun. It's a fun project. But then I got a lot of money wrapped up in here as it is. I mean, you look in here, I got a thickness planer, I got a table saw. I got my table saws over there. I got my miter saw in there, a drill press. There's a scroll saw over there. And then and I've got a radial arm over here and my kiln and a vacuum and. Yeah, when I die, somebody's going to have a hard time dealing with that. So, anyway, back to turning. The number one issue I can tell you on this, and I'm going to write a book on this, I notate this stuff down and let you guys know about this. If you ever get to the point you want to do something like this, let me know. I mean, definitely let me know if you're hung up on it. I love teaching people this stuff and telling you whether it's, just my mistakes. I don't tell people saying you're doing it right or wrong. I just say, look, this is what you got to look for. I'm not big in that because you got to learn. You have to learn. So I did. And thanks to all my friends that have been taught. My Gerald Vance is the number one guy, man. The guy's awesome. He's helped me out so much. And then Paul from Windy City Turners and John and Rich. Rich and I did the fantastic group of guys I'm around. Some of the guys from the Fox Valley Woodworkers too that I had that was. Unfortunately, the guy that ran the thing for so long, Tom Sharp, he passed away last year, and he was a number one class act guy, and I learned some from him. He would always come out with something, but pretty much most people I go to and I'm around are pretty impressive. I'm just a drop in a bucket compared to them. So anyway, as I was saying. I want to get to a certain point here, and I'll shut up and show you. So now, now you get to this point, and you go, okay, how much more do you want to turn it before you start up and do sanding? Because you know you're going to take at least a 1/16 of an inch off. now you see how rough that is? Now it's time to, and I was barely touching it. Okay, so now it's time to get back and get on. Hang on a second. I have a ton of sawdust. I've got a lot of sandpaper. Unfortunately, the stuff I need the most, I'm out of. So I don't know about you guys. If you're doing any woodworking, I go through sandpaper like crazy. I mean, I get it online, but I'm surprised. There's a couple of things I need. No, I'll do. This is 80 grit, by the way. Now, sometimes for safety reasons, I take this off and I put it over here and get the bulk of it out of my way. Okay, yep. I'm always doing that, by the way. Oh, you think I gotta clean my floor up? Like I said, dust mite bill. I told the boss that I was going to make a sign out front and say dust mite bill 1. Okay, so a couple of things I'm doing wrong here. One is I don't have my filtration system on. That's on. And unfortunately, I had a thing for this where I would go back and forth with it. This is my air hose. But it broke, so I have to start from scratch. So it does get noisy here, guys. Sometimes when all the machines are on, I gotta figure out which way to go. Now, here's the thing. If you want a good set of lungs, wear a mask. Not a paper mask, wear one of these, or whatever the update is. I gotta get the face mask that has the filtrations on the back, because okay, so I have bronchitis or asthma, and having worked for the Forest Service in the past, sucking up smoke, and everything else in between, and being in the trades for as long as I am, your lungs take a beating. Not just the rest of your body too. I got a bad back, I got a bad hip. What can I say? You know, that's because I was a freaking billy goat when I was with the Forest Service. You know. So, anyway. By the way, just so you know, okay, I'm a big firefighter guy, advocate of these guys. Please pray for those guys out there, okay? There's a lot of men and women out there working their butt off. This fire season has been atrocious. The thing is, it could have been at bay. It could have been held at bay. But politics interfere with it. I got to have a show on that once. I would love to talk to you about the environment, because they've got it totally wrong. The environmentalists have got a cap of your head, you know, over your eyes and your ears, telling you things that are not true. And I can personally attest to that. And the other one thing good about Illinois is that they do a lot of controlled birds out here, the forest preserves, all over the state, and the states, and the counties. They do a fantastic job of maintaining open lands, and it actually benefits everybody. Okay, so sure, it puts out smoke. It's a little bit, looks kind of ugly when they first do it, but it only lasts a month. if that, and all of a sudden all the flowers start popping up, whatever. So anyway, enough of that. So what I want to do here is to sand and get a lot of this rough stuff off, 80 grit, and my goal, like I said, I've got numbers. Now this is what takes me the longest. Whoa. Okay, so now here's the deal with this. You see this? Yeah, unfortunately, it tore out a little bit more. Could be a combination of stuff. There's a little bit of a crack there. So, here's the deal. There's a couple of ways of doing this. I got a ways to go. Sanding it. Alright, so when you're turning this way, you could be tearing it. You see what I mean? So a lot of times you want to go this way, and that's where your palm sanders and everything come in. I have a sander I'll just go back and forth on, like this. See, there's a crack here. Unfortunately, that's not what was in the wood, so it's an imperfection. It's still usable. There's ways to cover that up, but it just means more work. So, 44.3. So what I usually do is I set this, when I get down close, I'll set this down to where I want it. That's 44.3. And that should be about there. you move on these. Anyway. That's good. And this should be exactly where we want it. Now that was after me sanding a little bit. You do take more off. This has got to be tapered a little bit more. But see, all the ones I've done so far have all been basically finished off and to the best I could do. There's stuff in here. Wood is really how can I say it? Kind of to me, I should have started with something else and said forget it. But this is basically the one I started out with. So what did I do with my sander? So what you do is you work this back and forth for a couple more times. You don't need to use your tools anymore. Now this is where the fine tuning comes in. Now this is where the fine tuning comes in. There. Now you want to work at getting those out of there. Like this. You want to work at getting these out of here too with different sanding techniques, because when you're going this way you're turning it. You just got to remember that you're tearing things that way. You're going against the grain. The ideal way would be going with the grain, but you can't when you're doing. It's hard to do with a lathe. Anyway. My time is up, and I want to thank you all for watching the Dutchmans Wood Shack. Again, I want to remind you, and I'll try and post things ahead of time. I'm not really good at schedules. I just pop in your face. Any questions or comments? You want to talk about tools? If there's a subject you want to learn about, you want me to talk about, or other people, I plan on having a panel on here eventually. If you want to be part of the panel, I think StreamYard is the one to do it, where I can have a couple of people on here, which would be good. I welcome you. All right. Again, next weekend, not today or tomorrow, the Farmers Market in Batavia on River Street. I'll post it. Batavia Chamber of Commerce will have it, and I'll be there. And if you want to talk shop, that's great. My shop is always open to you guys. You get a chance, if you want to come over, fine. We can have coffee. I'm looking to start up a coffee club, woodworking club, just to show up and shoot the breeze. and enjoy coffee and a bagel and just, camaraderie. So give me a call or send me an email or whatever. Let me know what you think. Again, I'll end the show by saying, if you're not making sawdust, you're not being creative. So get off your phones, get off your tablets, get off the TV, make something. God bless America, and God bless you.